Brian Breaker.
Your little whiny baby.
Bane.
Don't assume my gender.
Friends since the 7th grade.
You're just a bitch with his phone. F*** you.
Well, sort of. One professional wrestler and one rapper get together to talk movies, comics, video games, pro wrestling, and anything that makes you say, WTF.
Let's not talk about Bane's ooze.
Harry Potter erotica. Awesome in theory, kind of a mess in practice.
This is Breaker and Bane's Power Hour.
Yeah. Breaker and Bane's Power Hour. Yeah. Grab a monster, crack it open, let's go. It's time that we start the show, no hesitation, oh no. The most energetic podcast of all of the podcasts. So when you listen to the show, you know that it kicks ass. So when I smash on these cowards like Mario did to Bowser, with the best thing you've encountered since suspenders on trousers. To all the haters, say howdy, make a believer from doubters. Put in the steak in the shower, Breaker and Bane's Power Hour. Yeah, hello. Hello. Welcome to the show. Yeah. Hello. Welcome to the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are Rolling Sound. It's episode 397. Breaker and Bane's Power Hour. We are 3 away from the big 400 number. Big underscore Bane.
Getting close.
Getting close. What are you drinking there?
An orange mango body armor.
I've heard those are pretty delightful.
They are amazing.
I think I've only had one time, maybe. Not that flavor, though.
They are,
It's like a really good Gatorade, right?
it's much better than a Gatorade, though.
Yeah. Like for your body, better.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're not healthy. Don't get it twisted, Breaker.
It's not a juicer, huh?
No, they are not healthy, but I mean, it does have a lot more vitamins and stuff in it than a Gatorade. Gatorade's just sugar water. I mean,
Well, yeah, but that's what makes it good.
right. This
Blue sugar water.
This is too, but it also has vitamins and stuff like that, and it's got made with coconut water and
Oh, nice.
yeah.
Good old body armor. Good stuff.
Good stuff.
Well, we got a lot to talk about today, Big Underscore Bane. We got a lot of wrestling talk. We got a little bit of movie and TV talk. We got some toy talk. PHPW Falltality is rapidly approaching here at the end of September.
Yes.
Plus, we have more tournament action. We're heading into the semifinals of the cringy WCW tournament.
Hope you wrote them down because I forgot which ones are in it.
I absolutely wrote them down.
Good deal.
Somebody's got to lead the ship.
Good deal.
All right, well, we got some wrestling talk. What do you say we dive into it here?
Let's do it.
Well, here I am again, talking a little pro wrestling while Breaker and Bane take a little break, cracking them bang energies. Well, listen to me, you two sons of bitches. Get ready to talk wrestling. Stone Cold out. Oh, hell yeah.
Thanks, Stone Cold.
Shout out to Stone Cold.
Well, Big Underscore Bane, you did something I was not expecting. You ordered a pay-per-view.
Yep. I ordered all out. Biggest mistake of my life. Worst pay-per-view I've ever seen. Ever.
Oh, I think Horror Show at Extreme Rules last year was definitely way better.
Everything WWE has put out in the last 2 years has head and shoulders been a million times better than that pay-per-view.
Yeah, we lost subscribers now because people are pissed.
Good. I'm weeding out the shit stains.
Weeding them out. But yeah, man, like, what made you decide to get it? Just because everyone was talking about it, or?
I wanted to see CM Punk's match.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was the main reason. But I was pleasantly surprised by just about every match.
I know.
It was
that was probably their best pay-per-view ever.
Yeah, I don't think there was one match on that card that I was like, well, there was maybe one match that I probably could have skipped, but like, and that was poor Paul White. You know what I mean? Like, that was I just felt bad because that was just a bad spot for them to have him in. I mean, it was smart to put him there, but it was just
watching him walk really made me like feel sad.
Yeah, because he's.
Did that? You feel the same way?
Yeah, I noticed that when he first started doing the shtick with him, I was like, he's not walking too well. It kind of reminded me of Andre.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. It just. Do you think it's one of those things where he's like, no, I can still go.
Yeah.
And like, I have to still go, but like you don't. Like you've
right.
created. I mean, and maybe this is also just give me one match so I can say I had my last match in AEW. I don't know. Like,
It could be, and it was what it was. I mean, I didn't want it to be a long match. I don't think anybody wanted it to be a long match. I mean, it was got in there, beat him up, walk out. You know.
yeah. I mean, it gave QT a pay-per-view match, which was good. He
Absolutely.
doesn't get a ton of those, and I think he's very underrated.
Super talented guy.
Yeah. And I feel like he's really come a long way as a heel.
Yeah.
So that was cool. But yeah, I agree and it wasn't even a bad match. It was,
No,
it was
no.
just like, man, he's not moving well.
Yeah, and that was all that was. I mean, I love seeing Paul White on my TV screen. Nothing wrong with him, but I just like the match that came right before that, and then the match that came right after that. I was like, oh God, I feel bad for him. You know.
Yes. Well, I mean, you're sandwiched in between the AEW title and the return of CM Punk.
Right.
Like it's a hard spot to fill.
Yeah, it really is.
Overall, though, you talked about liking the show. Is it still weird to buy like a $50 pay-per-view for you?
Oh, big time.
Because-
I won't do it every time,
Yeah.
but you know, knowing it was CM Punk's first match back in 7 years, I wanted to see that, and then
Rumors, right?
well, but I don't. And I know they were there, but I don't recall reading any rumors. I mean, we've talked about Brian and Cole showing up in AEW, but I don't really remember necessarily reading rumors that like, oh, it's going to happen at All Out. Like I wasn't expecting it.
I thought it would probably happen because that's the place to make it happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would agree. Like I definitely didn't. I thought it'd be Adam Cole, or I'm sorry, I thought it'd be Bryan Danielson coming out to get in Kenny Omega's face.
Yeah.
So the Adam Cole one did shock me.
Yeah.
Now looking back on what he said is like, you know, like anyone who's in another company or they're already dead.
Right.
I was like, okay, that's Adam Cole. But at the time, I didn't.
Love his music, by the way.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, although to me it wasn't a shock that he was there. It was just like it was always like, whoa, there's Adam Cole.
There he is. Yep.
Yep.
No, he's one like I've been saying the past few weeks. Like he belongs in AEW.
Sure,
More
yeah.
than anybody else, he belongs in AEW. Those are his boys. His wife's there. I mean, he's a perfect fit for
Yeah.
the show. So, and not to mention, I feel like this will be the first time we get to see free reign Adam Cole.
Yes.
Like at least for me, because I never watched his Ring of Honor stuff. So this will be fun for me because of how great he is, how great he was in NXT. I feel like he's going to be that much greater, kind of without a leash around his neck. You know? So I'm excited to see it. Plus, then Bryan Danielson showing up.
Yeah.
I mean, that was badass. That was. I feel like we were all expecting it, but that was something I never actually thought I'd see.
Right.
You know, because it's like to me, he's a WWE guy.
He has been. I mean, but granted, I mean, he was a Ring of Honor guy for a long time before that.
Yeah, but you know, when I think of that, I feel like that's like the midway point. You know, that'd be like somebody saying like he's an MLW guy right now.
Sure.
You know, to me anyway, that's how it seems. Like, well,
But he was there for such a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, he was there from what, 02 to like what, 09 or something. I mean, it was a long time.
He spent a lot of his early years there, but I look at him as a WWE guy, and I mean he's done reality shows with them. He's multiple time heavyweight champ. I mean, it just
His father-in-law is in The Office.
right. Yeah,
You know, like
yeah, it's
I mean, when he brought that up, I didn't even put that together. I'm like, oh shit, that's right. Laurinaitis works,
yeah.
you know, high up in the company again.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, there's a lot of red tape to unpack there.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's interesting. I never actually thought that I would see him in AEW, but I like it, and I actually liked what he said like after the show. I don't know if you got a chance to see it or not, but he was basically like, I'm one of the few people who absolutely loved where I worked and still left. Mm-hmm. And it's like
Adam Cole is actually very complimentary too.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think there's that
it's smart to be complimentary,
Sure.
because you don't know if you need to go back.
because there's like the, you know, just being like, yeah, it was a great place. And then there's CM Punk. Like,
Right.
I fucking hated that place. It made me sick and I almost died.
Who doesn't care?
Right.
You know.
So, I mean, I kind of look at that as like when Ric Flair left WCW to join WWE, and then he went back to WCW, and he was like, I didn't want to go. I loved it there. And I'm like, yeah, but you still left.
Right.
I mean, we can say what we want to when we're featured with that company, but
Yeah.
they left for a reason, obviously.
Yes.
But and whether that's a lighter schedule, more money, more creative freedom, whatever it might be, they still left. And I don't know, like Jericho put out a thing that pretty soon AEW is going to start beating Raw in the ratings.
Wouldn't surprise me. I mean, I guess
And I
they already
guess-
did in the demographics.
And one demographic they did this week And he said 4 to 6 months, and he's like, I didn't really think it'd be 4 to 6 days, but here we are.
Yeah.
It's one of those things, like, do you think AEW just kind of caught WWE sleeping at the wheel a little bit?
I think so.
And
So did WCW, you know?
because there's never been like legitimate competition.
Yeah. And I'm not saying AEW's, I say AEW is WCW a lot, but like in regards to,
It's very similar.
in regards to them being like bloating up and then failing, like I'm not saying they're WCW. I'm just saying that once WWE gets that kick in the ass they need, then shits might change.
Well, and I think management will be a lot different in AEW because with
Oh,
Bischoff, I think was a smart guy, but he also had to deal with the Time Warner people.
Yes.
And
This is all Tony Khan.
all Tony Khan. So like he's making his own decisions. He's, doing his own pocketbook. I assume, at least to some degree.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he's got guys doing it for him, but like,
But I mean, he's
under
involved.
his thumb.
Yeah, it's under his thumb for sure. And and that's another thing too. Like rumors are Bray Wyatt's going to pop up.
Yeah,
I mean, like the next pay per view's Full Gear. Like, what do you think? Do you think he shows up there?
it could be. And
What does Bray Wyatt do there?
I know the running gag is everybody needs to be the Dark Order's leader.
Yeah.
I know that's the running gag on Twitter, and everybody's probably telling me to shut the hell up right now. But they've been already, the Dark Order's whole shtick right now is that they're fighting each other. Like, they're mad at each other. They're fighting, amongst themselves. It makes perfect sense that, and even JR said on commentary, like, well, the problem is they don't have any, like, real leadership at the moment.
you think they're setting the pieces in place?
Yes, and whether that's Bray Wyatt, I don't know. But to me, it makes sense. Like, Bray Wyatt makes the
does.
most sense. And so I would be 100% for that. And I think bringing in somebody of that caliber is super smart.
It definitely makes sense. I mean, if you were going, that's a hard thing to kind of to trek because you don't want to disrespect Brody, right?
But
But they were like best of friends.
And that's why I don't think with Bray. I think anybody else, it probably would seem disrespectful. I feel like with Bray, it would be like in remembrance. You know what I mean?
He would probably do something to kind of really put over the fact that like I'm doing this for my boy type of thing.
Yes.
Yeah, and you may be right. We got to touch on this because I feel like this one gets overlooked. Ruby Soho.
Yeah, I wanted to mention her, man, because she was another one. Like I said, I wasn't really expecting Adam Cole or Daniel Bryan. I mean, it makes perfect sense, but I had no idea that she was going to show up.
Yeah.
As the Joker, and
It has to be somebody though, right?
It does, yeah.
And I remember thinking like,
I thought it was interesting that they brought the women's battle royal back. you
Yeah.
know, and so it made perfect sense that she showed up. And props to her. They let her win the whole damn thing. That's amazing.
I know. It came down to her and Thunder Rosa, and I was like, man, I like both of these. I love Thunder Rosa.
Thunder Rosa's my jam.
I think she's awesome. And so, when I feel like, at least with AEW, and this will come, and I'm an AEW apologist, I'll always say that, but I feel like some of the knocks they had, their women's division's not very good. That to me showed that like they are improving it drastically. It just takes time.
Well, it takes time, and again, I feel like you can look at their men's division at the beginning of their show. Their men's division really wasn't that good.
Right.
They had the elite, but other than that, it was a bunch of young guys.
No one was established yet.
Right.
Now Jungle Boy's becoming a star. Luchasaurus is becoming a star.
Right.
I mean, you got all these guys like that are starting to get stuff going for them, but it takes a little bit.
It does, and I think
Darby
that's,
Allin's another one.
Yeah, when the first time I saw Darby Allin, I was like, oof.
Yeah.
It same with Jungle Boy. I was like, I am not sold on these guys.
They're too small.
Right, these are kids, and but then like the more you watch them, it's like, okay, they got something. Okay, hell yeah, these guys are badass. And it takes a minute, and I think that's the problem with the women's division. I mean, but the way I look at the women's division, you got Thunder Rosa, now you got Ruby Soho, you got Britt Baker, you got Tay Conti,
Anna Jay just
Anna
came
Jay,
back.
Chris Statlander. Dude, the freaking women's division's kind of stacked.
Yeah, I was very impressed with the Chris Statlander
Yeah, she's awesome.
Britt Baker match. I thought that was great.
Yeah.
I thought For a match, I mean, again, I don't see a lot of story going in because I just didn't know. But I know Big Swole, she's awesome too.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there's so many that I feel like
Big Swole. I remember seeing her. She was
all the like Hikaru Shida.
Oh, yeah.
Amy Sakura, all those guys, all those
Yes.
girls that are Japanese.
even
like
Roho or Rohi?
yeah, Riho.
Riho.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
there's so many talented women that it's it's kind of like hard. Like, who do you pick for Britt Baker to defend the title against? Like, there's so many.
And the thing is like, it's not that these aren't talented women. It's just you don't know them yet.
Right.
And that's the big issue that I have. And it does take a little while. And I mean, it's same thing with WWE, man. There's if you watch NXT, like flip on NXT one week, I don't know who half those women are anymore.
Right. Because it changes so much.
Changes so much. And it has nothing to do with their talent. It's just I don't know who they are, so it's hard for me to get involved in it.
Right.
And so I think that's the same way with AEW. It takes a while, unless you're just watching it religiously. It takes a while to like get into the characters.
Well, and then I feel like Tony Khan has done a really good job with Dark, and I know a lot of people probably can't sit through Dark because it's like 17 squash matches.
Mm-hmm.
But what that's done is built up equity in a lot of these people to allow them TV time to get better at their craft because they don't really have like a developmental system, right? So it's like, hey, we're going to do Dark, give you a chance to work, give you a chance to be in front of a crowd up and until the COVID stuff, obviously, but be in front of people, get your reps in and all that stuff, and then that way when it's time, like Jade Cargill, like I didn't know who she was, she just pops up, she's just like freaking looks like Storm, she's an Amazon, and then all these other women that have been able to step up and become great performers, and right now, like WWE, could they do a 30-woman Royal Rumble? Yeah, because they have, but I wouldn't have thought AEW could have done that a year ago, and they just showed that they could.
Yeah.
All in-house. I mean, it was great.
Yeah, I thought it was awesome. And like I said, I love the fact that it came down between Ruby Soho and Thunder Rosa.
Right, because you don't know who could win.
Either one of those could have gone up against Britt Baker. But,
yeah. I mean, Serena Deeb's another one they have, and she's injured right now, but she's amazing too.
Oh yeah, and she actually just recently started doing a gimmick that she's the woman of 1,000 holds.
Yeah,
and I'm like, well, that's badass.
Kind of ironic that the entire straight edge society's under AEW again, isn't it?
Well, by God.
That's such a weird thing when you
shave her head. Shave her head.
Like, because Gallows is not there, but he's there. You know, like he's part of it, obviously. So I'm like, how interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I loved AEW. I thought All Out was awesome. Like I felt like Punk looked great. We talked about this a little bit. What'd you think about Punk's tights? He came out with the pants, not the trunks. So a different look. I think smart move because right away it sets him apart from how he used to look.
I will say this. I never in my life thought I would have rather seen a man in less clothing.
Sure.
But
it kind of looked weird to you?
It did. And by the end of the match, I feel like I was used to it and I was okay with it. But like him walking out, I was like, does he have sweatpants on?
Yeah.
And then for the walk down, I was like, oh no, he's wearing tights.
The one wardrobe change that really bothered me was in 2005 is when Shawn Michaels started wearing like the pants that kind of looked like his chaps, but they weren't.
Yes.
And it was with that match with Kurt Angle. And I remember just being like, why isn't he taking his chaps off yet?
Yeah.
Like, what's, is he wrestling in? Oh, no.
Yeah.
He's not wrestling in those. Like that whole match, I was bothered by it.
Yeah.
Now, I'm totally used to it.
Yeah.
And it didn't, like, I watched that match. I'm like, this match is great. I don't know why I was so fascinated on his pants.
Right.
Who gives a shit? But, but at that time, it was such a drastic change. You're like, wait, what?
Well, and I only cared about it through his entrance. Once they started wrestling, it didn't bother me anymore.
Me and you were texting. You were like, I don't know if I like those pants. And I was like, I think they would have been better if maybe they had more design on them. They were almost a tad too plain.
They were super plain, yeah. Which, I mean...
And like I even said, it's like if they did the Chicago Stars on one side and then maybe like a big ice cream bar, maybe or Punk real big. I mean, it might have been different because like with Edge, his was huge designs, and that's what to me makes him look cool. Right. When pants are kind of plain, they're just plain.
Well, you were talking about Shawn Michaels. There was an image that popped up. I think it was one of the Elimination Chambers or something where he had like brown tights on,
poop brown, yeah,
and there was like no design on them, and I'm like, my God, those are ugly.
Yeah.
And so it's like CM Punk's wasn't that bad, but they were like just pretty plain.
Well, that was that weird 2002 transition because that first match back, he wore jeans, which made sense.
Yeah.
Like it was a street fight.
Street fight, yeah.
And then he did that Elimination Chamber. Didn't really have gear, so they tried to make something real quick and it turned out poop brown. And
yeah, that's sad.
he had one match on Raw where he wore new tights and they just said HBK, but they weren't like the Heartbreak Kid.
Okay.
They were like black with silver designs. They actually look cool. He wore those against Rob Van Dam once, and then that's when he was like, the Heartbreak Kid's back, and that's when he started wearing like the classic HBK tights again. But
I always liked those.
I did too.
I always thought those
because
looked
that's what we remember, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just something about those long, loose-fitting pants. Initially, I was like, "The hell," you
Yeah.
know. It looked weird, I guess.
Yeah.
But then you get used to it, and that's Shawn Michaels.
Yep.
I sent this over to you. I thought this was a fun thing that I think is right up your alley, Big Underscore Bane. Netflix doing a special. I think it's Undertaker's Mansion or Taker's Mansion. And it's going to feature the New Day. It's going to be a interactive film. We've talked about that in the past with Black Mirror, Bandersnatch, where it's like a choose your own adventure.
Yeah.
But they're incorporating WWE stars. Obviously, with the Undertaker, it's very Halloween themed. This sounds fun, man.
Yeah, it sounds fun. Who knows if it'll be good or not? I don't have high hopes for it to be good, but if it's fun, that's all that matters.
Well, when you say good, I don't think this is not good. This is geared towards kids, right?
Of course, yeah.
I think it could be enjoyable, though.
That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, I mean, as long as it's enjoyable, that's fine.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm surprised you're not more hyped about it, being a Halloween guy.
I'm burnt out on the Undertaker, man.
Are you? Too much
Yeah,
Taker?
Yeah, too much Taker.
Kind of like when you were like burnt out on The Rock?
Yeah, still burnt out on The Rock. You know, love the guy to death. Think he's phenomenal in all of his movies, but I'm just kind of burnt out on him.
Where's the Undertaker burnout come from?
There's just been a lot of them. You know, I feel like he pops up a lot. You know, and just kind of over it.
Kind of over it, huh? It's too much Taker.
Yeah. Although I did see a funny TikTok. He was talking about Hulk Hogan on TikTok yesterday, and he was talking about how that I guess it was a match right before this Tuesday in Texas when they had a match.
Yeah, Survivor Series.
Yeah, and Hulk Hogan was talking about how Hulk Hogan said that like all day backstage, like, hey, be careful, I got my neck's hurt, so I'm worried about taking your move. And I guess have you heard this story before?
Yeah, and have you seen, did they show the pile driver?
Yeah, he clearly didn't hit his head.
By a foot? Yeah.
And Hogan was like, well, the problem was, brother, you were holding me too tight. I couldn't move at all. And that's what jammed my neck.
See, I heard there was a lot of animosity there initially because a Taker felt like he buried him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it's like, come on, man. Like,
Yeah.
He did take care of him.
Yes.
Pretty obvious. But,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Because he did the tombstone on the chair, right?
Right.
And Flair's holding it. And
Yep.
and it's pretty clear, like, he missed it by a country mile.
He took care of him, yeah.
As good as he could have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Sad.
That's Terry for you.
I thought that was funny, but yeah, other than that, I'm kind of burnt out on seeing Taker.
I can understand that. But I think this will be a fun way to incorporate his character without him wrestling, though. And that's kind of what that's kind of what made me excited. I was like, this is more what they need to be doing.
Yes.
Especially with AEW creeping up, man. Like, take your stuff out of the ring, do stuff like this, get known in the pop culture realm as opposed to just wrestling.
Yes. Very smart.
Mick Foley made some news. He made a little video that a lot of people probably didn't appreciate. He kind of called out WWE for their lack of creative process and said, like, no longer is this the place for young talents want to go to. It's now AEW.
And he's not wrong.
And he called out, the main thing he pointed out was the Karrion Kross thing,
Yes.
which we've talked about. And he used the old phrase, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Karrion Kross, to me, was a huge bright spot of NXT over the last year or so. And then WWE's got him looking like a gimp. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you're the shitty demolition guy. Like, I don't understand at all. And I think that's what he was talking about. And who knows?
I mean, it's one of those things like, if it comes out that Karrion Kross was like, guys, this was my idea, then I'd be like, okay, that's
But
cool.
I don't think that it was.
I don't think it was either. That's why I'm like all on board with Nikki Cross, because Nikki's came out and been like, this is my idea. I
Be a
wanted to
superhero,
do this. And I'm like, okay, well then I'm on board. That's awesome. But like with this, it feels like a forced thing and it's dumb and I don't like it. And there was nothing wrong with Karrion Kross to begin with.
Right.
And The only gripe I have ever had about Karrion Kross was that I felt like he's too intense all the time. Felt like if he toned it down a little bit, it would be like badass. But like it's Karrion Kross, you know, he's gonna do whatever the fuck he wants to do. He's legit badass. So, but they've completely ruined him on the main roster. Like he's not even featured in the Hulu version anymore.
Right.
And so,
And was former NXT champion.
right,
And is that part of that power struggle where,
I think so.
you know, like, by God, we're going to change this guy because we need to, even though, because I've had this theory, you know, Triple H came up with NXT as the breeding ground to get the next generation of talent ready for the main roster. So that way, when a guy like Karrion Kross shows up, there's really nothing you need to do. He's ready and he's good to go.
Yeah.
But what that does is that leaves Vince out of the loop.
Yeah.
And I wonder if Vince is like pissed about that. And so they're like, nope, that's why we're going to change things up. Neville, you're going to get a cape. Ascension, you're going to get face paint. You know, like very few guys come in unchanged.
Vince likes to create. I mean,
Right.
that's one of his things. He likes to like. I mean, you look back at the '90s. I mean, he made all those gimmicks. Half of them were stinkers, but like,
Yeah.
I mean, that's what he does. He likes to create. So when Triple H has them ready to go, I feel like Vince is like just twiddling his thumbs. You know, like, what do I do?
Yeah.
You know, he's sitting there just stewing. So I don't.
He needs a mask.
Right, like he's got to be thinking of ways to quote unquote improve him, but I mean, yeah, I don't know. I 100% agree with Mick Foley. If I was an up and coming talent in the wrestling business and I had a choice to go to either AEW or WWE, even knowing that most people are going to AEW right now, I would still go to AEW because I know like I could do whatever the hell I want with my character.
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah, I could still be me at AEW. At WWE, I'd have to think of a new gimmick. I'd have to think of 10 gimmicks and then present all of them and let them decide which one's the best. And then, you know, I mean, I'd have to like pick 20 different names out of a hat and let them help me out decide, you know, all that bullshit that you've told me you've had to go through. And it's like, that sounds horrible to me. And so I'm 100% with Mick Foley in that sense where it's like, yeah, AEW sounds like the winner here.
Well, and also I didn't make note of this, but I guess a lot of people were upset on Raw because Jeff Hardy was just out there chasing the 24/7 title. And
See, they didn't show that on the Hulu version.
right,
either.
and it's like, really?
Yeah.
Jeff Hardy? And I guess Matt Hardy made a little bit of a tweet just like, hey, just letting everyone know that, yeah, I love my brother Jeff and I want what's best for him.
Yeah.
And that led to speculation that I think Jeff did recently re-sign. I don't know the specifics, but kind of makes you think he's probably thinking, damn, that was a mistake.
And now, like, you know, you and I had the conversation on here about Jeff Hardy versus Karrion Kross
Yeah.
recently when that whole thing went down. And I was playing devil's advocate in the sense that I was like, well, maybe they're pushing Jeff Hardy to the moon again. Give him one last run.
And they're not.
Clearly that's not the case.
Yeah.
I mean, so what the hell?
Yeah, well, and that's the thing is like people, I think, are kind of looking back like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You know, like, I mean, like I look at AEW this past weekend and I didn't watch the show, but I saw the clips, but it looks like they're trying to give a little push to Pillman Jr. Like,
Yes.
Hell yeah. Like,
And I think that was because he was in his hometown.
sure. But I mean, like at the same time, like if he can knock it out of the park,
Absolutely.
that gives a little bit more of something to him, and him and their verbally sparring with MJF is great. And apparently, I don't know if you saw this, but I guess shortly after that show, his sister went into labor.
Yes.
And like she had her baby. And he's like, I don't know if MJF's responsible or
Yeah.
not. Which I thought that was great. And then Punk looks like he's starting a feud with Team Taz.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, that's fantastic.
Yes.
But I know he mentioned like, yeah, I want to wrestle Hobbs, I want to wrestle Ricky Starks. And I'm like,
Yeah.
good on you. Like, get in there with those young guys. That to me is such a fun, unique thing. And like, if you look at the AEW roster, I'm like, we could see Kenny Omega and Adam Cole. Mm-hmm. Kenny Omega and Bryan Danielson. I mean, I know him and Adam Cole are in the same
Right,
stable,
right.
but like Punk brought up, like, I'd like to see me and Bryan Danielson against the Young Bucks.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's super.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's fun. Like, there's a lot of fun matches. WWE could have that too, but I don't feel like we're seeing that.
I don't think WWE cares about fun matches. I think they care about stories. And it's not that their stories are even that great for them to be.
But have a fun match with a story. Like, to me, the last match where I was like, that's really cool, Rollins and Edge.
Yeah.
Because it's like, that's never been done before. They had a little bit of a squabble years ago when Edge
Mm-hmm.
was retired, and now it's like they're back and they brought in the Brood stuff. I was like, that's great.
Yeah.
But now they're like gearing up for Roman and Lesnar 3. And I'm like, damn it, I don't care. You know, I've seen this already.
Right. And to play devil's advocate, this is a different Roman Reigns.
Right.
So probably a different outcome. Because
And I'm not saying that won't be good, because it will be.
Right.
But it's like, you know, like when they're giving you something fresh and you're
Yes.
like, ooh, I can sink my teeth into this. And they're like, hey, we're going to give you a match we gave you in 2015.
Right.
Come on.
Yeah. And I feel like WWE is at the point where it's like, well, what do we do to combat this?
Right.
Because
Explain this to me like I'm a 5-year-old.
right, because logically, you would have to, I feel like, start fresh, because everything in their company, I feel like, has already been done.
Well, first thing I would do is I would stop releasing your guys that you can have these fresh matches
Exactly.
with. That would be number one.
That's what I'm saying, because like if you look at their roster, it's all the guys that have already feuded. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
that's kind of who's left. I mean,
Right.
The coolest thing that they have done in the past like month or so was they spent basically half of Monday Night Raw doing the tag team turmoil. Like that took up most of Raw this past week, and it's like, well, finally you guys highlight the tag team division.
Right. Yeah, because the other tag team division's great.
Right.
Like, how good was that cage match?
Yeah, I mean, insane, and obviously none of that comes close to that cage match.
Right.
But it was still like
But it's something different.
right, but I feel like there's not a whole lot, because if you look at Monday Night Raw, like right now they're trying to have Bobby Lashley be a not multi-time, but have more than one title. It's like, where have you seen that before?
Yeah.
But then Randy Orton's trying to go for the title again, so we're going to get Randy versus Bobby. And I'm sure we've seen that before, but that feels fresh to me because it's been a long time if we have.
It's fresh, but then it's like, oh, great, Randy's going for the title again.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of how I liked him in the tag division. It's
Right,
like, it's
'cause it
different.
was different, yeah.
You know, and let him do that for a little while.
Yeah.
Other interesting news, I don't even know if you are aware of this, but apparently Kevin Owens' contract is coming up sooner than later.
Yeah.
And there's already been some teases that he's jumping to AEW.
Oh, I saw the coordinates, pal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And then did you see the his location said almost there, and the Bucks put there
Yeah.
on theirs? I'm like, it's pretty obvious. So what do you think? We think we see Kevin Steen in AEW?
I do.
And again, it makes sense, right?
Yeah, I would imagine him. I'd imagine Sami Zayn goes too.
Think we see El Generico back?
As fun as that would be, I don't think we will.
You don't think so?
Just because he's already made such a name for himself without the mask.
But wouldn't that for like because AEW is appealing to the indie cred guys.
Yeah.
I think people would pop if El Generico showed back up.
Oh, big time. Big time he would. But,
And I mean, why not do both?
right. Well, and that's the thing.
To some degree. You know?
yeah,
I mean, like,
he
people
could.
know. I mean, it's not like it's going to be like a
Of
huge...
course.
But he's also done a really good job this whole time, as he never actually said, yeah, I was El Generico.
Right.
He's always kind of just, like, supposedly, and
Yeah.
kind of led people to make their own conclusions. I mean, it's pretty obvious, but still,
Right.
it's a fun thing.
Yep, absolutely.
But yeah, I think Kevin Steen, which will also be kind of a hard thing to kind of get back to saying,
Yeah.
could possibly make the jump. I mean, but then again, it's like, my God, there is a lot of guys in AEW.
Yeah.
But I mean, that could refresh like Steen and Jericho, which is like that had such good heat in WWE, but
Yes.
never got a good payoff.
Yep. So I'd be completely okay with that. I mean, I would 100% be completely okay with those guys jumping. But again, it goes back to like, what do you do with all these guys?
Yeah.
And I mean, I know again, Dark Elevation, I get it, but like,
Well, and apparently Dark's going to start taping at Universal Studios.
so do you think it'll maybe be more like a Saturday
Yeah.
night main event?
Saturday night, worldwide, WCW Pro, those type of shows.
Yeah.
Smaller crowd, a little bit of a different feel, but also highlight the younger talent.
Yeah.
Which I think is a good idea.
And I'm still of the mindset with Dark and Dark Elevation, and I've never seen Dark Elevation, so maybe it is like this, but I think Dark should maybe not be 15-minute or 15 2-3-minute squash matches. I think maybe it should be like 5 or 6 matches.
I think they might be redoing it a bit.
I hope so, because I think you could do that, and then kind of like what CM Punk said, like, we don't have to wrestle every week. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, maybe you only have somebody wrestle on Dark once a month, and that way you can take time to highlight everybody with giving them good, solid matches.
Well, and that's the thing is, I think they released they're doing some shows in September in Universal already, and they were releasing like times, and it was like 2 dates. It was like a 12:30 and like a 3:30 show. So 2 shows over the course of 2 days, I think.
Yeah.
So like probably 4 total tapings, and they're probably going to use the same crews. Mm-hmm. So you're going to see the same guys, but maybe the next taping, all different people, hopefully.
Yeah.
But they still had some name, like Eddie Kingston was on the poster, so
Okay.
maybe he's there that first taping. The second taping, they bring in someone else,
Yeah.
which I think is great. So, I mean, again, it just highlights people, which is fun.
Absolutely.
Triple H recently had surgery. What'd you think about that, man?
Pretty shitty. That sucks.
Scary, dude.
Yeah.
Like, did you find it weird that they didn't? They said cardiac event, but they didn't really say heart attack.
Was it a heart attack?
Isn't that what a cardiac event would be?
Not necessarily. Like, I mean, I think you can have a cardiac event without having a full-on heart attack.
I gotcha. I just didn't know if that was them trying to change your own words, maybe.
It could be. I mean, like medical facility instead of a hospital.
Right.
But I don't know. And it also, maybe they said that because heart attack sounds like, oh God, he's going to die.
It does.
He's
expected to make a full recovery, but that was kind of a unexpected thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that definitely sucks. And I'm sure he's stressed out to the max right now.
He's got to be. He's got to be. I mean, with everything that's happening, and and I kind of wonder. We talked about this before. I guess there's been a retrek where it's like, oh no, Vince and Bruce Pritchard, they're not taking over the creative of WWE. They're just taking over producing it, whatever the hell that means. But I kind of wonder.
That means the same thing,
pretty much. But I wondered if that was a thing of like, you got to beat AEW or I'm taking over.
Yeah,
and that's not really fair because one company is fresh. The other company, like, I mean, let's be honest. NXT hasn't, to me, really been fresh since probably 2018.
Yeah.
So it's been a little bit, and
also I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. It's 2021. There's a thing called DVR.
Yeah.
You don't have to pick one or the other.
Right.
I mean, it's just the ratings aren't going to be there for one of the companies, and it just so happens that everybody wants to watch AEW live.
And NXT's on demand the next day.
Right. So it doesn't. They were doomed to fail in the rating wars of Wednesday.
Yeah. Sometimes that's all that matters, though. And you look at someone like Vince, he probably doesn't care. Like, beat him.
He probably doesn't even know. He probably doesn't even, probably no one has ever said that to him.
Yeah.
Because everybody's like, well, by God, Vince, you're right. He's
lost.
lost.
He's surrounded by yes men.
Of course. And that's all it is. If somebody would just be like, no, Vince, DVR exists, man. But nobody's going to tell him that.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. It is what it is.
Yeah, it's a wild thing. But we got a little bit of movie talk here. Why don't we say we dive into it?
Let's do it.
This is Breaker and Bane up at the movies, yeah. This is Breaker and Bane up at the movies, yeah. All right, fellas. Go ahead and take it from here. What you got now?
See what we got now. Big _ Bane. I saw this isn't really newsworthy, but I thought it's worth mentioning just because it's funny to me. Netflix loses The Office.
Yep.
Which I know is a big high point for you to use Netflix.
Yep.
And at that point, it's like, oh, that's not really Netflix's fault. Peacock took it back.
Yeah.
But then Netflix, I thought, to give you the real 1-2 punch right to the gonads, they pick up Seinfeld, which is like your least favorite show ever, maybe.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't get on Netflix anyway.
You boycotting them?
Yeah, F Netflix. So that's just one more reason why Netflix is the shits. I mean, it's why that company's in the damn shape it's in because of shit like that.
Yeah, I thought that was just so ironic that they take your favorite show of all time, more or less, and add one of your least favorites. But one more quick thing I want to touch on here before we dive into our toy talk. Dark Side of the Ring Season 3 comes about this, I believe, the 16th, so it'll probably be like a week from today or tomorrow, depending on when you listen to this. But it's going to be an interesting season, man. I think these season openers, the plane ride from hell, we've heard about that a lot.
Yes.
That will be an interesting one. Also, the steroid trial.
Yeah.
I'm curious. Like Dark Side of the Ring, I feel like is really good about getting a lot of different perspectives of a lot of different people throughout this series. So those are 2 episodes I'm really looking forward to.
I hope they talk to like lawyers and stuff.
Yeah.
On,
I would
on that
love
episode.
I would love that. And the plane ride from hell. I hope they interview people that were like working the airline.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
I feel like anyone involved can push a story to their own narrative, but like
And the wrestlers are going to do that.
right. Like I liked when they did Collision in Korea that they talked to like the newscaster that was talking about it, you know,
Yes.
or like John Stossel, like the guy that actually got slapped. Like talk to those people because that's what to me what makes it interesting.
Absolutely.
But it'll be about 7 episodes to wrap up season 3, man. I think Dark Side of the Ring is just really, and they're really doing well, man. Like it's a great show.
Yeah. Really. It really is.
I'm kind of curious. Do you think they'll have a 4th season? And what do they cover if they do?
They made a joke post about covering MJF just a couple days ago. I thought that was funny.
I feel like maybe too soon, but Joey Ryan could be a topic.
Yeah, I think. I don't know if the show will still be running by that point, by the time they're able to do one on him, but like, because I feel like Joey Ryan is still a developing story.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, we're probably not going to. Same with Velveteen Dream.
Yeah.
I feel like we're not going to hear anything about these guys for a couple of years, and then 2 or 3 years down the road, like they're going to pop up in the news again
Joey Ryan doesn't seem to be wrestling anymore.
because he can't get booked.
That's what I'm saying, though. Like, that's kind of the thing that gets me about that. Do you think he'll ever eventually worm his way back into wrestling?
Oh yeah,
But, I mean, like, booking him, I feel like is really a big time, like,
there are plenty of super mark promoters out there.
but why would, I mean, and I'm not trying to personally knock the guy or the worker, but he's not worth the negative attention, is
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
Yeah. I'll knock the guy. Fuck him. Yeah, I don't think he's worth it at all.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be a stupid move on anybody's part to book somebody like him or Velveteen Dream.
Yeah.
In your show.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying like not. I mean, he's obviously a shitty human being. I meant like his work rate. Obviously, he was a good performer.
Yeah, he was a decent performer.
And he was, an entertaining guy. So I get it on that aspect. But to me, he's not worth it in the sense of just the overall negative attention you're going to receive for the juice is not worth the squeeze, is what I mean in that situation. So yeah, you're right. I mean, that definitely could be a developing story as we hear more. Other than that, I'm trying to think of what else they could talk about.
China would be a good one.
China would be an interesting one. I wonder if they would do Brody Lee, and I don't mean that in like a bad thing, but just
Explain what happened.
maybe. And
Yeah, because I don't think there's anything wrong with that story at all.
No.
I mean, I think it's kind of a tragic thing that happened.
right. But I've been rewatching season 3. Like I love the Brian Pillman episodes.
Yes.
I think Collision in Korea is. I would actually like to Saudi Arabia. Dive into that.
Yeah,
Because I mean, and people can say what they want to. I've talked to you about this. I'm pretty sure the story of them being held hostage, there's something to that. The fact that all the guys that said something about it publicly all got fired. If you look at it one by one, they've all kind of been let go.
yeah.
There's something to be said about that.
Well, and I will 100% trust the boys over official statements from WWE.
Of course.
Over official statements from Saudi Arabia news.
Right.
I don't trust that bullshit.
Right.
I will 100% trust what the guys say.
Well, I mean,
that were there.
me and you both work with corporate entities.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like there's a solid chance they're spinning the narrative a little bit.
100%. So that would be, if they were able to do it, of course, there's enough guys now that have all been released. If they wanted to openly talk about it, I don't really, unless there's some type of gag order we don't know about, they definitely could.
Might be a literal gag order. Like you talk about this, we're going to gag you.
Possibly. All right, we got a little bit of toy talk. Why do you say we dive into it?
Let's do it.
Here we go, open the box. It's the part of the show where Breaker and Bane do a bit of toy talk. Here we go, open the box. It's the part of the show where Breaker and Bane do a bit of toy talk.
All right, a little bit of toy talk this week. Mostly AEW based. At All Out, they do a little fan fest ahead of the pay-per-view, which is a lot of fun, I think. If you were going to the show, that'd be a lot of fun to attend. Announced a lot of new A lot of new stuff as far as the AEW toy line. We saw that they officially announced Unrivaled Series 9
Yeah.
And Unmatched Series 4. Plus, we saw images for Unmatched Series 3 and you know, a new Wrestling Buddy. We saw some bloody variants coming out, which is really fun.
Of the Wrestling Buddies?
No, of the figures.
Okay. Okay.
The new wrestling, they announced a Sting Wrestling Buddy.
Okay.
That's the new one they announced. But Unrivaled Series 9, Eddie Kingston, Ricky Starks, Powerhouse Hobbs, Brian Cage, Thunder Rosa, and Christian Cage. I mean,
Sounds like a solid lineup.
dude, yeah. And also Christian's first AEW figure, which I feel like gets a little bit overlooked.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm 100% for it.
Yeah. Unmatched Series 4 will include Cody Rhodes in a suit, which I think is kind of something we expected at some point.
Yeah.
A new Hangman Page, a new MJF, Jade Cargill, which is kind of a fun addition to the line.
Okay.
CM Punk, his first action or WWE action figure in many years. AEW, excuse me. AEW figure. I'm turning to Jim Ross now.
Yeah.
And then finally, Corazon de Leon. Like, how cool is that? Like a freaking AAA version of Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
Or a Mexican version of his career there. I think that's a really cool, like, Legends style figure.
That is really cool. Yeah, I dig it.
Some cool stuff. And then we see like exploding barbed wire death match versions of Omega and Moxley with a little bit of blood, and which is interesting. That's obviously not something WWE touches, but they make them ringside exclusives. I think it's a smart move. And then
Yeah.
a bloody version of Britt Baker, which was also kind of a different version. So some cool stuff, man. I dig what AEW figures are doing.
Yeah, and it's a wonder, man. Like WWE never, got on the ball and done some of those bloody variants,
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably Mattel, like, wow, we don't want to do that.
Oh, I 100% bet it's Mattel.
Yeah. Because, I mean, they got to keep their name up there with Barbie,
Well, what's weird is I remember thinking, like, although they can't release that in stores, Soda Hunter brought up a really good point, and he's like, yeah, but they make horror movie figures. They have blood on them.
Mattel does?
Not Mattel, but toy companies.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, you're right. Like, they do, like, NECA does, like, Michael Myers and all that stuff, and Jason Voorhees, and they're all bloody and gross looking. I'm like, yeah, that's true. So it's not a store issue.
That's what I'm saying. It's probably a Mattel issue because Mattel is for sure focused on, like, kids.
And I wonder if it's because it's wrestling and it's based on, because I'm sure you remember the Al Snow with head debacle from the
Thought it was
90s.
a decapitated head, yeah.
Which I'm like, he's in a singlet. Why would he, be decapitating people? You stupid idiot.
Yeah. To be fair, he's crazy.
I mean, the head says help me. Well, yeah, of course. It's part of his wrestling character. You don't like. How did no one sit that lady down? Like, let's explain this to you.
But going into that cold, I can see where she's coming from. If you don't know anything about wrestling, you see a plastic head that says help me on it, and then another plastic guy. I mean, maybe they should have like made that foam and like had zero detail on it or something. You know what I mean? Like,
if I remember right, like the what they used for head was like a doll head because
Right.
it was like squishy.
Yeah.
It looked like a generic Barbie doll head.
yeah.
And so, because it didn't look like a wrestling head, which they could have done, but it was
Right.
like, okay, it's like this is head, and it didn't look like it like what he used on TV, but it was for the time it was close enough, and she was not having it.
He was not having it at all.
I guess that really hurt Al Snow figures in the future and all kinds of stuff.
Give me an Al Snow figure now.
I guess Walmart legit was like, we're not carrying Al Snow figures ever again. I'm like, can you imagine? Like, what terrible luck.
I'd wear that as a badge of honor. You kidding me?
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm banned
I'd walk
from
into
Walmart.
Walmart just strutting if I were Al
I'd
Snow.
bring head with me every single time. Like,
Yeah.
you guys are getting head.
You are getting it. But, yeah, man. AEW's got some cool stuff in the pipeline, so we'll kind of keep you updated on that. I guess Unrivaled Series 7 is up for a pre-order on Ringside. I don't know if you saw this. Apparently, someone leaked the back of the box, and they have a typo on there. Instead of Dax Harwood, it says Dax Hardwood.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm sure he's not going to be happy about that. Anyway, we got some Fatality news. What do you say we dive into it here?
Let's do it, Breaker. On Adrenaline this past week, we're continuing the Fatality Tower, the completely original story of Tier 1 having to fight his way to an opportunity to face me and also be in talks of a future title shot. And this past week, he fought one half the tag team champions, one half of the longest reigning tag team champions, Breaker. He fought Poetic Prophet.
Fantastic.
And I'll be damned if he didn't sneak by a win. But we also have more Fatality tournament action. as we saw Kreger from Wreck My Faction take on Soda Hunter.
Soda Hunter's a guy I could see taking it all, man.
He absolutely is. And Soda Hunter has had momentum like an MFer. And he snuck by with the win. He came out and he will be in the semifinals. Now we know from last week that We know from last week that Scott Toon and Jordan Zeilinger moved on. So right now, we're going to figure out who Soda Hunter's going to face, as we also saw GBM versus Ricky the Roper Rex in this Fatality tournament.
Well, it's a main event anywhere in the country.
Breaker, on commentary during this, I've had the distinct pleasure of having Will Venus side by side to do commentary with me. He told me that when you get rid of one Global Wrestling Extreme member, more appear.
And of course. I mean, I think everybody knows that.
Yeah. And he said they're like weeds. And I'll be damned if he wasn't telling the truth, because mid-match, GBM had just hit his finishing move, the Corruptor. I swear the match was over. GBM was going to move on. Lights went out. Friggin' Can We Get Dirty just blasting over the PA system.
Of course.
And then lights come back on. And for the first time in PHPW history, we got to see Carl and Jim of the Potpourri Crew.
Oh, Carl and Jim, the Potpourri Crew. We've heard about them.
Yeah.
We've never seen them before.
Now, we saw them.
We saw them this occasion, but yeah.
And the hype was not real.
No, I can't imagine it was. But Carl and Jim with the Potpourri Crew.
Yeah.
Helping out another Global Wrestling Extreme brethren.
So because of that, Ricky the Roper Rex moves on, defeats GBM, and congratulations, Soda Hunter. You basically get a layup. I mean, congrats. I mean, that's... unless Ricky decides to bring out the Potpourri Crew again, I think Soda Hunter's got an easy route to the finals. But that's basically it, Breaker. We're wrapping things up. We're trying to get things going for Fatality. I think last week we did announce that Elvis Aliaga was going to get his rematch.
We did. Elvis Aliaga against the current champion, Mike the Cleaner.
Yes. We will have the Fatality tournament finals at Fatality. The Fatality Tower with Tier 1 is going to continue. And those are going to be surprise matches. You guys won't know who's going to be involved in those matches, who he's going to take on. So, good stuff. And right now, Breaker, I think that's all that needs to be announced right now that I know of. I don't think I'm missing anything, leaving anything out. I think that wraps everything up this week.
All right, and so give everyone a date when we will expect to see Fatality debut.
Fatality, Breaker, will be September 25th.
Late September, the 25th, Fatality. And of course, this will kind of officially wrap up the first year of PHPW as we head into year 2 for Ghost Goblins and Grapple Holds 2, I guess.
Ghost Goblins and Grapple Holds will be the anniversary.
Yes, absolutely. Well, that leads us into our tournament here for the cringiest moment in WCW. And last week we had, of course, an interesting bracket. It was our final first round bracket. Tank Abbott in 3 count versus Jay Leno Wrestling. Astounding victory. Jay Leno wins 67% to 33%.
I kind of figured he would.
Yeah.
But it's a damn shame because that Tank Abbott in 3 count was pretty damn cringy.
It really was. It was one of those classic things of like, why the hell would they do that?
Yeah.
So now our semifinals look like this. Hulk Hogan in the actual Dungeon of Doom. Oklahoma, all-encompassing, the entire run. Judy Bagwell on a pole, and Jay Leno Wrestling. So, semifinal match number 1, Hulk Hogan in the Dungeon of Doom versus Oklahoma.
Man, I want Hulk Hogan to win this one so bad. But I feel like Oklahoma's taking it.
It would be hard for Oklahoma not to win.
Like this whole tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's... I should have thought that through. I mean, I made this tournament for him.
Right.
But I should have thought it through because I don't think there's anything really even comparable to Oklahoma.
There's not, and that's the unfortunate thing. Like, we didn't have there's some other moments we didn't even have on here.
Oh, yeah,
You
I
know,
know.
but,
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Macho Man slapping Tori Wilson, that wasn't on there.
Oh, I don't even remember that one.
Yeah, he came in backstage, and this is when he was like ponytail crazy Macho Man.
Pimp,
Yeah.
basically.
And she was like laughing. He was like, laughing at me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like real brief. It was like, holy shit, like that just happened?
Jeez.
Yeah. And so there's a lot of cringy moments, and probably some we don't even remember.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah, but Hogan in the Dungeon of Doom or Oklahoma, who is going to win?
Who?
All right, man. Well, that pretty much wraps up episode 397. Anything else you want to add?
That's it.
Well, real quick, we need to touch on this. phpwshop.com.
Yes.
We have some new designs on there.
Yes, we do. We got the Doing the Favor.
Vicious and delicious.
Yes, we got that one. We got the Ethan Chambers Burning Rubber.
NASCAR style design. I love it.
Yeah, we have
The Brigade Butcher.
Brigade Butcher,
GBM.
GBM, yes. And then we have the Scranton Syndicate. You know, Scranton welcomes you to pain or hell or whatever.
Those guys are well on their way to some big moments,
Yeah.
I think.
Oh, God.
You never know. The Scranton Syndicate, they're quite the formidable duo.
See, you love them, and I hate those guys. They're so weird.
No, I don't love them, but there's something about being around someone like that I feel better about myself.
I saw you chopping it up with them in catering.
Hey, you
Don't
hang out
play
with Bill
coy.
Venus. You hang out with Bill
I'm
Venus.
contractually obliged to hang out with Bill Venus.
Not as much as you do, though.
You haven't read the contract, pal.
Yeah, apparently not. I've never read a contract, even my own. Anyway, we got some plugs to dive into. Of course, got to throw it out to our buddies, Jeff and Scott, over there at the the Fully Posable Wrestling Figure Podcast. Drops every Sunday, just like this show. Two great dudes and a really fun show. Check it out. And Scott also has a little side project, Drunk Wrestling History.
Yes.
Check all those shows out. Great stuff. Doing the Favor with Eric and Barry, another favorite of ours. Two great dudes. Love chopping it up with those guys. Love listening to their show. I just caught up on a couple episodes this past week. Love talking to Doing the Favor. And great dudes, and I think you'll love the show as well.
Absolutely. Hey, and shout out to Doing the Favor. There we go.
We kind of lost audio for a second there.
Anyway,
You won the pony.
I won the pony, the old Mark Marrow giveaway. Bigger than Scorbane won it, so
Congratulations.
yeah, got me some Mark Marrow swag coming my way.
Dude, I'm all about Mark Marrow.
Damn right, I am too.
Do you like Johnny B. Bad better, though?
Absolutely, I did. Yeah. Give me a man that wears lipstick and eyeliner, and I'm all about it.
I'm a bad man. Good stuff. The PPW podcast, the Positively Pro Wrestling podcast. Check them out as well. Steve and Eric doing some fantasy pay-per-views, which is always fun. I think on a upcoming episode, they're going to review Royal Rumble 94.
Yeah.
Right up my alley. I love it. A Ringside Rant with RJ is another great show. The Leisure and Lariats podcast with our buddy Ruthless Ryan Davidson. Boot to the Face, another really fun show.
Yep.
Tales from the Estate with our good friend Drew Vinsel and his wife Caitlin, another favorite of ours.
Absolutely, yeah, dude. I love that show. I mean, every Thursday,
Yep.
I try to make sure, like, first thing in the morning, make sure-
Download and go, right?
yeah, it's like one of the first things I listen to in the morning. I just love that show. It's a good show.
It's a great one. In fact, I didn't even mention this. I'm wearing a new Fully Posable shirt. So I actually ordered this and the Tales from the Estate We're Live Pal a
Yes.
few weeks ago. So breaking this one out, which is fun.
Solid stuff.
Definitely. Wreck My Podcast with Jordan Zeilinger and his crew over there, always doing some fun stuff. They're doing Twilight movies now, which is
I saw that.
That's got to be like brutal.
Hard to get through for them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they might be into it. Which one is it? One of them talks like he's like a film buff. I can.
No, Cam.
Cam, yes. And I'm like, man, because I guess he's seen them all or something like that. And I'm like, I couldn't sit through those. Like
I've watched the first one. I was not into it.
yeah, I've watched the first one too, and I don't even know if I watched all of the first.
Oh,
one.
I definitely don't think I've watched that much of them.
Yeah,
But yeah,
sounds rough to me.
yeah, it's our new Batman.
Yeah,
Oh boy, we
I
have
heard
some-
he's gonna be good in the Batman though.
Yeah, maybe. I'll give him a benefit of a doubt.
Have you seen all the reviews for that movie?
Supposedly, yeah. I don't know if I buy it though.
Oh, you're gonna be buying it all the way to hell soon.
No, absolutely. I don't buy movie reviews. I feel like they're biased now.
What?
Yeah, I don't like movie reviews because I'm like, I'd rather watch it for myself and make my own opinion.
Well, I get that, but like,
I'm just saying if you wanted your movie to do well, don't think those guys don't take a little extra cheese under the table.
Take a little grease in their palms, you know
Of
what I'm
course,
saying?
yeah. Like, I mean, to me, like, and I love Marvel movies, but all those get like great reviews for the most part, and then like Venom gets a bad review, and I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
And it wasn't
Because it's Fox.
right. It was Sony, but
Was it? I guess it was.
Venom is Sony. But they do that as a way to, I think, because I think they did that with a lot of the DC films. You know, give them bad reviews, and I think they're like, maybe we need to pay some people. So I don't give a lot of merit to reviews. I want to wait to see it myself.
I do think he's going to do really well. He is a phenomenal actor.
I'm excited for Paul Dano as the Riddler. I will say that.
I've heard that he's like insane as the Riddler. So
I think he would be a good villain. So I'm excited for that.
I'm very excited.
Of course, we also got trivia with Buds with our pal Ryan Buds. Howlin' with the Wolf with our buddy Jason Wolf. I got to throw it out there real quick on this. The Wolf Club, his Wolf Chop Shop membership club, he sent out his first newsletter this week and kind of has his updates for everything that's going to be happening throughout the next quarter. Really cool stuff, man. Like, it's a super, super cool thing. So I'm looking forward to everything he's got going there, and I think everyone will, if you didn't sign up, you're going to regret it because it's good stuff.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Pulling Up a Chair with the Chair Shot. Check out that show as well.
Yep.
And then Wrestling Comic Books, Grapple Hold, To Be the Man, Evil Ain't Good, and Tales from Planet WrestleTopia. You can find those on Amazon or on Comixology. And then, of course, our own podcast, No Holds Barred with Bill Venus. Unfortunately, I think you're on a bit of a hiatus right now, but there's still plenty of Bill Venus over on our Patreon.
Yeah, season 4 is Ben Dunsky. Don't know when he's coming back, but I would assume it seems like that mofo always likes to come back around the holidays, at least for a couple episodes. So,
Little Christmas special action.
yeah, Halloween, Christmas, all that nonsense. So,
I think it definitely could happen.
yeah, we'll find out.
Of course, my shows, It's Fake Right. Every Monday, we just had Jordan Zeilinger on for an episode, which is a lot of fun. I think everyone will enjoy that. He drops a couple of things people probably did not know. And then next week, an Oklahoma wrestler, Justin Lee, will be joining me, which will be a really fun conversation as well.
He's an Oklahoma vet.
Absolutely, he is. He's
Yeah.
been around.
He was wrestling when you and I were in high school.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he's been around for a while there. And then the TV Toycast, we just dropped an episode on Star Wars. Next week, we're going to be dropping a really fun episode on Pogs, which is going to be really fun. I can't wait for everyone to hear that, just because we dove into like the history of them, and it's great stuff.
Yeah.
Super fun. And then we have our new shirt over at whatamaneuver.net, the Masters of the Toycast, kind of a Masters of the Universe looking design. So check that out over on What a Maneuver.
Absolutely.
All of Bane's music you can find on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your tunes. You have the Bane albums and singles, as well as Anti-Bane.
Yep, it is all on there. At least it should be anyway. I haven't looked at the Anti-Bane stuff in a while. It should still be on there. I don't see why it wouldn't be. But
I have that album, so it still plays, but I haven't looked to see if it's still on the.
I can look too, real quick, while we're. This is live, pal.
The Anti-Bane. Nothing pops up.
Let me see. Yeah, it's okay. So it's still on. Still on Apple. Still on Apple Music, so you can at least get it there.
Well, I think if you search Bane, it'll probably show up in.
Well, Anti-Bane's one word.
See, that was where I was messing up.
Yep.
Kind of like Anti-Venom, right?
Yes.
There it is.
Yep. Just one word.
Trapped.
Yep. So all that is on there. Check that out.
Definitely. And any updates on any new tunes where we're going to see something new coming around the corner?
No, I haven't been working on anything yet. I have been very, very much depleted energy mentally wise as of late. So haven't worked on anything. I even promised like that Halloween story for patrons. I haven't even worked on it because it's like mentally I'm just effing drained.
I hear you.
No updates musically, but I will definitely hit you guys up when I do have one.
Oh, definitely. So we'll look forward to that. But again, I think it would be better for you to have like music that you want to put out there as opposed to just
Putting it out, yes.
slapping it together real quickly.
Yeah, for sure.
If you guys want to support us, patreon.com/BBPH is the way to do that. You get the weekly energy shot. You get a once a month podcast of Breaker Retro Gamer, where you get PHPW Adrenaline every week and other fun stuff. Like you talk about the Halloween story, which hopefully we'll be able to pull off before Halloween, which will be fun.
If I can't pull it off the original idea, I will do something. I have already thought, like, well, if I can't muster up the creative gonads to write, 4 weeks worth of short story, then I can at least pick out like 4 awesome, like, creepypastas or something like that, and just kind of read them out,
Sure.
as an audio thing.
Definitely.
I can do something for Halloween to make it fun. I'm just trying not to overexert myself mentally because, like I said, I am burnt to a crisp.
Burnt to a crisp.
Yep.
Also, Outsiders Beard Co.
Yes.
Got a beard, need you some beard balm, beard oil. That's a place to go to get it.
Yeah, absolutely. Check it out. I think I said it last week and I lied to you guys again. But by this time this drops, all the fall stuff should be up. So check it out. It should be up there.
Absolutely. And if you want to pick up a t-shirt of ours, prowrestlingtees.com/Brian Breaker, bbph.redbubble.com, and of course, whatamaneuver.net, where you can get the new G.I. Joe style design, the Power Mowing Hour style design, plus a new design going up probably the first part of October, a little Halloween style shirt I think everyone will love.
Dude, we got 2 Halloween designs coming up that I think everybody's going to love.
Yeah. One will be on What a Maneuver. Mm-hmm. The other one will be, of course, on phpwshop.com.
Yeah, because it's related to that.
Yes, and that's another place to go. And if you guys want to support that, know that you are supporting multiple people. You're supporting us and our adventure throughout PHPW, but also the individuals involved in the shirt. So if you want to buy a Drew Vinsel shirt, you're directly supporting him.
Yes.
Mike the Cleaner, Soda Hunter, whoever it might be, and they get a little kickback from it as well.
Absolutely.
So we actually get better royalties than WWE, so keep that in mind.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, well, it's better than nothing, so
yeah,
pretty much that's what they would do. Anyway, anything else you want to add, man?
That's it.
Thank you guys for checking out Breaker and Bane's Power Hour. I'm Brian Breaker.
I'm Bane.
We'll see you guys in 7 days.
Peace easy.
Yeah. One more time. It ain't over till I say it's over. So lock the cage up, cause this is a takeover. The wait's over. If this the final time we meet, then you'll be on your back on my feet. Then I'll tip the cage over as a hangover. I'm super fly, so I can splash off the top. And I can shut down the shop. Like Randy Savage, I'm the cream of the crop. And I'm always gonna rise to the top. People's champ like The Rock. I do not give a fuck, so let that shit drop. Man, I'm so over.
Double pistols. What'd you think?
It's good. It was really good. Pretty good.
That son of a bitch, Eric Barker.
You son of a bitch!
Can I dig it? Sucker!
Nailed it.
Nailed it. Perfect.
Put it on the internet.